watching the SoCal Minor League Cricket Championship, brought to you by our 2023 partners.
Welcome back, cricket fans of America, to Morgan Hill Outdoor Sports Complex in Morgan Hill, California. We are in the southern end of Silicon Valley for our second match of the day, here on our first doubleheader day of the weekend in the 2023 SoCal Minor League Cricket Championships, presented by Lashings House of Spices. It's our second Northern California versus Southern California tilt as the SoCal Lashings visit the homestanding Silicon Valley Strikers. I'm Joe Hickey with Vishal Tiku at the controls today, courtesy of Crick Live Productions. That is KRIC Live Productions here on the MLC network. And we are strapping in for a potentially pivotal match in a crowded Western Division playoff race. Top three are going to go to the postseason. But while number one goes straight to Texas for the Super 8s, number 2 and 3 are going to have to contest a wild card playoff to make that trip down to Dallas. Silicon Valley at 4 and 2 are presently looking up at the 5 and 1 East Bay Blazers, but have 2 chances next weekend to reel them in, assuming they can keep pace meanwhile. The 4 and 4 SoCal Lashings, meanwhile, are clinging to third place, and they really need to be the rabbit out in front. They're going to finish their regular season tomorrow as they play their 10th game, and they have to wait for results next week involving the Grizzlies and the Thunderbolts to determine their fate no matter what they do. 2 wins would go a long way, though. It would make it very tough for anybody to top them, and the LA side is going to be encouraged by their results back in early August when they sprang really the upset of the early season here in MILC in Van Nuys. They knocked off these Strikers in Silicon Valley's first game of the season by 21 runs, and they did that the day after they had nearly upended East Bay, falling just 7 runs short in that chase. Silicon Valley, for their part, will be returning to action after a 3-week layoff. Their near collapse against Golden State Grizzlies in Davis likely to give them a lot to think about, if not for 4 missed run-out opportunities for Golden State on the final 2 deliveries. And yes, you heard that right. 4 chances to run out a Silicon Valley striker on the final 2 balls. They'd be out of the playoff positions entirely. They'd be sitting at 3 and 3. Golden State would be 4 and 3, and they would be needing to do work just to have a chance to qualify. So we're going to take a look here at the teams that are coming out. It is SoCal who have won the toss. They have elected to bat first. No big shock there. They're 2 and 1 on the season when batting first, putting up a 135 average, although they batted out of their skins in the second game against Seattle last week, so we might see them try to press that number a bit higher. They come out with no changes whatsoever. We're going to see the openers Ruben Clinton and Kirsten Kalicharan. We'll talk a bit about what they've been able to put up in the recent past, but otherwise it is as you were. They had one of their best games of the season, probably one of their most resounding victories ever against Seattle Thunderbolts in the chase the other day, back on Monday, on Labor Day. As for Silicon Valley Strikers, just one change to the 11 that they ran out the last time they suited up in Golden State, and it's a big one. Shahan Jayasurya back into the 11. He was away on duty with a different league, different tournament at the time of the Golden State weekend. It was a big story at the time that the Silicon Valley Strikers managed to take 2 games from Golden State without their talisman. They managed to piece it together, as we said, just barely in one case. But he enters for Anshul Singh. Otherwise, it's as you were. Teams coming out to take the field, it's going to be Rahul Jariwala with the gloves as we get things underway. And as we said, Ruben Clinton and Kirsten Kalicharan, the 2 batters to get things started. And this opening partnership has really been quite something the last handful of games. It's been the big strength that SoCal have been able to draw off of to try to draw their energy and their excitement from. They've got the highest scoring power play batting with the best average in the division now. And a big part of that is the recent partnership here between Clinton and Kalicharan. 360-plus opening partnerships in the 5 matches they've been batting together since Kalicharan came over from Canada. Everybody getting loose, waiting for the identity of our first bowler. I have a guess. And there it is in the frame, absolutely. Sarab Netravalkar. And Netravalkar also worth an awful lot of discussion. He has been absolutely on fire so far this season. We'll tell you more about his stat line, but he jumped straight out of a great MLC experience into minor league cricket and has just picked right up there. Currently sporting his best ever figures in minor league. 4.67 the economy. Wickets at the moment, he's got the 7th most in the league, and they're costing 8.4 runs per, and a strike rate of 1 wicket every 10.8 balls, and he is lethal against lefties and very good in the power play. We are underway here from Morgan Hill, California. The first delivery gets away from the wicketkeeper, and my mistake, it is not Rahul Jariwala with the gloves. It is instead Lahiru Milanta, who kept wicket with the Morrisville Raptors just about every game last season before coming over to this side of the country. So first delivery was legal, so that's just going to be a bye, not a wide. And LA Lashings are underway. Netravalkar, just a metronome. You can just about set your watch to his figures game in, game out. In fact, the 2 games he had over that weekend in Van Nuys to start the season, both of them 2 for 19. And in 5 of the 6 matches Silicon Valley have played, he's had at least 2 wickets and no more than 20 runs. Only sour note, a 0 for 25. And if your sourest note is going barely over a run a ball, you're doing pretty well. First delivery faced by Kirsten Kalicharan, allowed to hit the gloves of Milanta behind the stumps. A bye and a dot ball to start here for Netravalkar. Ruben Clinton. Actually, we'll talk about Kirsten Kalicharan for the time being, since he's the one on strike. 23-year-old, originally from Trinidad, but now based in Ontario. Has played a bit in West Indies domestic cricket, though, also as an under-19 World Cup representative for West Indies. That delivery tapped to the onside where Dev Tadani is waiting. Talking with a few fans between games here about the roles of your under-19 or under-21 players, and occasionally you get players that by and large are fielding and coming into the batting lineup at 9 or 10. Almost feels like maybe checking a box. Silicon Valley, not that kind of team. Dev Tadani and Rahul Jariwala factor in big. That one just barely left by Kalicharan. Still looking to get off the mark here, but it's 3 dots to start, and this is what Sarab Netravalkar does. He bowls a disciplined line, he applies pressure, and eventually he gets a little bit of swing or seam, and has had a way of blowing up people's stumps so far this season. The lefty Sarab over the wicket. That one in the air, and it's going to find some vacant space and roll all the way to the mid-wicket boundary. Kirsten Kalicharan off and running. Gets 68% of his runs by way of boundaries inside the power play. Coming off his first 50 back on Monday and looking to get off to a good start here. Ball from Sarab Netravalkar a little on the full side and drifting towards the pads. And Kalicharan knows exactly what to do with that. Bit of a change in field here. The deep men before We're at backward square. And I can't find the other one. You'd think the bright blue jersey would stand out really nicely against the background, but at any rate, both of them now on the onside. Deftadani moves back to a deep mid-wicket, replacing whatever the other one was that I can't find now. Change of angle for Netravalkar, and that one is sprayed to the man at backward square. That's Srini Raghavan. He'll get that one in for a single, so a boundary off the over. 5 for Kalicharan, who is underway here. Clinton will look to get underway on the next over, but he's going to have to wait for Kalicharan to get off strike. 6 for no loss through 1.
गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट में क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Ball will be handed to the left-arm pacer Colin Archibald to start from the Barrett Avenue end in the second over of today's game. Apparently maybe something, some issues in terms of the sight screen back here. Actually, there's not really much of a sight screen at all. There's a bright white bulletin board that may well be an issue for the batters. Kirsten Kalicharan stopping Colin Archibald cold in his run-up. Oh, never mind. Nothing about the backdrop. It is instead the sleeve. So Archibald will take that off, and he'll restart. Colin has bowled 4 overs each inside the power play and the death overs in his first 2 matches for Silicon Valley. Here he comes with his first offering. That one's airborne for a moment, but not nearly long enough. Rushing in is Rahul Jadiwala, but he will simply collect. No danger there for the men running between the wickets. "26 years old from the island of Nevis. Colin Archibald, 3 appearances for the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots down in the CPL. Nice for Silicon Valley to bring someone in that has CPL experience, given that they've lost 2 players from last year to CPL experience, Roshan Primus and Raymond Reefer, both now in action with St. Lucia and Jamaica, respectively. Archibald, more recently an import from Morrisville. That ball tapped just behind point. No run on there for Clinton. Wind whipping through now, and it is at the back of Colin Archibald and maybe a little bit across the pitch from right to left. We'll see if he makes use of that in terms of looking for a little bit of drift or angle here. That one zips its way through. Archibald so far a bit more successful against left-handed batters. He's only bowled 20 of his 48 balls against those. But just 19 runs conceded. Against right-handed hitters, 62 off 28. So he'll be perfectly happy to try to dot up Ruben Clinton here. Another one tapped, and Ruben will get off strike and get off the mark here with his first run of the day. Clinton surveying, looking for the gaps that he might try to, Kalichadan rather, surveying, looking for the gaps he might attack as the field moves. Deep protection at third man and at mid-wicket. He elects to run it down towards third man and will take a single. Saurabh Netravalkar patrolling back there, and Clinton will face the last of the second over. Situation this weekend for SoCal, 2 wins would be big. If they can pull that off and finish the season at 6-4, they would simply need Golden State not to sweep all 3 games next weekend. 1 loss would do the trick. A single victory and a 5-5 finish, that would at least open up a scenario where they could see themselves into the postseason. There is one that exists that would put Golden State and Seattle both at 4-6, and it's not particularly outlandish. Clinton runs that one down to third man. That'll be another run, and he'll retain the strike to face off with Saurabh Netravalkar on the first ball of the third over when we come back. 10 runs for no loss.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need 1 hand on the roof, 1 hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go Rewards, when you fuel, you save, because rewards come first.
Ruben Clinton on strike as we get the third over underway. Saurabh Netravalkar continues from the San Pedro end. Clinton, a new addition here, very much a New Zealand giveth, New Zealand taketh away situation for SoCal as they lost Katane Clark and Dale Phillips and bring in Ruben Clinton. And this over is going to start exactly the same way as the first one did, apparently with a bye. Another one that gets through Lahiru Milanta. No, never mind. This one's actually a wide on top of that. So 2 runs added to the column. Clinton back to the non-striker's end. Clinton, originally American-born, but grew up in South Africa, has played a lot of his cricket in New Zealand for Auckland and Hamilton. Keep an eye out for all the cross-training he does, though. I'll let you know when he's up later. So that one's worked off the pads by Kalichadan, and that'll be a single. But Clinton, an avid golfer and gymnast, has represented his province in rugby, cricket, and track and field. He's a hurdler and a javelin thrower. So let's just keep our eyes peeled and see how many different skills from other avenues of athletics he ends up using here on the cricket pitch. Not any slouch at any of those either. Competed at the World Junior Golf Championships twice, medaled in South Africa's Men's Artistic Gymnastics Championships. There's another one that's eaten up Milanta. This time around he does keep it in front of him, but unlike a catcher in baseball, no padding up there on the chest. That is going to leave a welt. See, in baseball, after something like that, the umpire would come over, take the ball, go talk to Saurabh for a little while, clean off the plate, do something to help out his buddy in the firing line. I don't think that same camaraderie exists between umpires and wicket keepers here. That one does hit pad. May have gotten bat first. Either way, nothing given. I suppose the umpires might actually have more camaraderie with the bowlers in this sport. They share the tendency every now and again to have to take some evasive action as a ball gets rocketed right back at them. Helmet being brought out here for Lajiro Milanta behind the stumps. You wonder if that means he's intending to eventually come up to the stumps and try to keep Kalicharan from advancing forward, or Clinton for that matter. Saw Milanta try to frisbee his baseball cap over to his fielder at fine leg. That one run down to third man for a single. Can't be throwing things like frisbees around here. Ultimates on Thursdays at Morgan Hill Outdoor Sports Complex. Spent a lot of time here last summer. Thrilled to be having our first games at this ground of this season. Got a chance to talk to Gary Graham, who assists with the groundskeeping and the pitch curation here. That one smashed just behind point, and that is going to run away toward the boundary. Arsh Butch with a long run. He is not going to get there in time, I don't think. We'll see. It may have stopped in the grass. Apparently it did. Just 2 runs for that. Did not make its way to the boundary rope. Graham thought that this was a really good flat-looking surface for batting. East Bay certainly made it look like one in the first innings. And then in the second, their spin bowling made San Diego look silly en route to a 77-run victory. 8 of the 9 wickets taken by spinners. If you weren't here for it, Angelo Pereira, Sanjay Krishnamurthy, Hari Krishna Nair, all with multiple wickets. Pereira with 3 to his name. East Bay now number 1. That is the final ball of this third over. Kirsten Kalicharan putting LA at 22 for no loss. Archibald will continue from the Barrett Avenue end of the ground. Gave up just 4 runs in his first over. Mentioned before, Saurabh Netravalkar this season. That's just the 3rd 6 he has given up all year. And the first one inside the power play where he bowls to a 3.62 economy. That one down the leg side and a little too far down the leg side. A wide bowled by Colin Archibald. He'll have to fire that one in again. Archibald struggling a little bit with the extras. He's good for one of those roughly every 8 deliveries so far this season. Clinton offering at that one, but unable to make contact, maybe for the best. Really good looking delivery from Archibald. Clinton generally this season has been a bit of a slow starter in the power play. 106 the strike rate. When he's stuck around to the death, he's absolutely bludgeoned the ball. But the 3rd most prolific 4-hitter in the league and the 5th leading run scorer sits on strike against the lefty Archibald. That one poked and just under the attempt of Gary Graham to keep that in the inner circle. That'll be a pair of runs for Clinton. Maybe the most striking thing looking at Clinton's stats is the fact that his strike rate is almost invariant. Doesn't matter what kind of bowling you put against him. 107 against right arm pace, 107 against left arm pace, 100 against off spin, 108 against leg. It's a little better against left arm spin. We'll see if they elect to throw that at him at some point. But he's going to get you a run of ball pretty much no matter what you throw at him. Archibald there throwing a bouncer at him. Tried for the quick little flicked ramp shot. That particular kind of shot is the sort of thing when you first become a cricket fan that just kind of blows your mind. The idea of intentionally hitting a ball behind you. He'll block this one out from Archibald. The wind continuing to pick up, and every now and again I've got to play boundary fielder with my game notes. Need quick reflexes on the field, in the booth. Our own Vishal Tiku's been doing more of an endurance match of having to run back and forth and cover lots of ground around here to keep everything functional. We appreciate him. Archibald, this is a free hit rather after a no ball, and Clinton is going to guide that wide of the fielder on the inner circle. Long run to chase that down. Jadiwala eventually gets there. That'll be another pair of runs here. Credited to Reuben Clinton after that no ball, and for Archibald, it's a long over. Good-looking Yorker dug out from under his feet. Splits a pair of fielders, and Clinton's got himself another single. It's been a good over for him. As we're awaiting a few things to be repaired here on the scoreboard. I believe it's no ball, then two, then single. Unless there was another no ball signal that I missed at some point. Kalichetan on strike. Bouncer up at clavicle height, and that is fired into the ground, but Jayasuriya fields it and had a chance there at a run out. That almost looked like a live replay of the run out he managed of Finn Allen back in MLC, where he picked up a ball. Allen was just sort of loping his way down the pitch, and Jayasuriya knocked over his stumps. Clinton got a little far away there, and Shahan took the extra moment to try to get his aim and just could not quite guide it there. Probably had about a stump and a half to aim at from that position at a very wide mid-wicket. Final delivery of the over, perhaps a swing and a miss. Looks like that one's been given as a wide ball. Two wides, two no balls. We're starting to run out of room on this little ticker at the bottom. As we said, coming in 6 extras, wides and no balls. That one is popped way up in the air, and the fielder at fine leg is in. It's Gary Graham, and he's going to have to watch that one roll over the rope for a 4. Big finish here, taking full advantage of the extra deliveries and the extra wear and tear on the arm and shoulder of Colin Archibald, and that one may not have been where he intended it, but they'll take them all the same. 4 runs tastes the same no matter how they come about. 4 overs gone, 35 for no loss for SoCal Lashings. A 4 to finish a lengthy over in the 4th. Colin Archibald had held SoCal Lashings to just 4 in his first over of work. 13 in that one, 4 of them coming from his own generosity as it worked out. 2 no balls and a pair of wides. And so it'll be the youngster Dev Thadani, 20-year-old out of Irvington High School. He and Rahul Jadiwala, classmates, now over at Santa Clara University as a business student. This year he's been giving folks the business. 6 wickets at 20.7 runs per. Economy of 7.29, but he's been used in a lot more high leverage situations as of late. First delivery sprayed towards Gary Graham at backward point. Able to dive and keep that one on the inner circle. Deep protection against Reuben Clinton. Located at mid-wicket. And perhaps long on and just hiding behind Thadani from my point of view. Yep, there he is. Swing and a miss and a pair of dots to start here for Dev Thadani. Unlike what we saw earlier from San Diego Surf Riders, SoCal not content to soak up the dots. They have been managing to rotate the strike pretty ably. And looking for the opportunities for boundaries when they come. That one into the gloves of Milanta. Dev on the season, a 6.25 economy when used inside the power play. This is the 5th over he's bowled in that chunk of an innings. That one jumps up on Gary Graham, but he keeps it close enough. Another dot here as he continues to look very economical. Generally speaking, he's been a little more expensive, but a little more dangerous. Actually, a lot more dangerous against lefty batters. 4 of his 6 wickets. That coming on just 33 deliveries so far, an 8.3 strike rate against lefties. A good-looking delivery there in the corridor of uncertainty. Clinton couldn't decide whether to go after it. Now, Thadani last year bowled almost all of his overs in the middle, 80% of them. That one tapped again towards Graham, another dot ball. If he's going to keep doing this, he might get himself some more power play overs. That is it. That is a maiden for Dev Thadani. Starting to show up in more high leverage opportunities, and just like that, the run rate from 9 down to 7 with 6 consecutive dot balls. 35 for no loss through 5.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
First over of spin to come here from the Barrett Avenue end, and it'll be Srinivas Raghavan, who, if it were not for Saurabh Netravalkar's heroics, would probably be the story of the Silicon Valley Strikers on the bowling side. 12 wickets, already just 3 shy of what he did all of last year in just 6 matches. He's lopped his average in half. He's managed to take a 6.45 economy from last year and drop it by a couple of decimal points. And he's currently the 10th leading wicket taker in minor league cricket. First delivery is a flat one, smacked straight at Rahul Jadiwala. This may well be a move to try to trouble Kirsten Kalicharan. Raghavan a 10.5 strike rate against right-handed batting this season. Ten of his 12 wickets coming against righties. After the Kalicharan 4 that ended the over for Colin Archibald, it's been 8 consecutive dot balls. Pressure starting to mount a little bit here late in the power play. Another flat one that is guided just underneath the attempt to keep it inside the inner circle. Picked up by Ravi Singh. Fired back in, but Clinton and Kalicharan very quick between the wickets. They'll pick up a pair and break the 8-ball duck that was developing there. Deep man with Kalicharan up at long on and at mid-wicket. Pretty conventional field at this point. Kalicharan waits on that one, tries to play it under his eyes. Raghavan, somebody who, by and large, has either been economical or been a strike bowler so far this season, but he's always at least one of those things. Got an economy under 4 in matches where he has been held wicketless. But in the matches where he gets wickets, he's got at least 2 every time. Final delivery of what has been a sterling over. That's going to be nudged to the onside. Kalicharan will take the quick single. Might have been at least worthy of half a shout had there been a direct hit there, but nothing doing. Just 3 runs off of it. Power play comes to a close here for the Lashings at 38 for no loss.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At SoCal, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
Strikers so far held out of the wickets column through the power play. That's a little unusual. They've got the 6th best strike rate in minor league cricket in the first 6 overs of a match. Dev Thadani with half a shout for trying to pick that one up on the first ball outside the power play. Nothing given though. Kalicharan on 22 from 19 at this point. Kirsten, interestingly, the exact same strike rate in the power play as he has in the middle overs. 106 for both. So he's somebody you can count on to just kind of keep motoring along at about this same pace. We'll see then if that means that the acceleration needs to come from the other end, as Silicon Valley have started to apply the clamps through Thadani and Raghavan. Targeting the top of off stump with that one does Thadani. And it was Clinton that he dotted up for 6 in a row on that maiden first over in his spell. When he wants to bowl a good line and length, he is tough to get away. He's had a couple matches this season when he has gotten torched, but they've been few and far between. A lot of maturity for a 20-year-old pace bowler. There's the first run off of him, a single. This portion of the game has been one that the Lashings have aimed to improve on. Match against the Seattle Thunderbolts is absolutely a massive step in the right direction as they pushed the platform they built through the openers into a, in that case, not a big score, but a quick chase down. Have had a tendency to sometimes get a little complacent, absorb a little too much pressure during the middle overs. Starting to rotate the strike is more the idea for them here against Dev Thadani, although Dev at the moment very much seems to be in his element. You wonder if some movement down the pitch might start to be the answer. That one a little on the short side from Thadani, and that's going to take one hop over the shoulder of Milanta. Graham to it, and he'll hold it to just a single. Wholesale fielding changes now with Ruben Clinton. Or excuse me, yes, Ruben Clinton coming on strike. Protection all in front of Ruben Clinton at the boundary rope. That one scorched on the ground, but Saurabh Netravalkar down to block it out. Just the 3 singles off Thadani here in the 7th. Lashings for the first time duck under the run-a-ball mark, 41 for no loss.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट में क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Srini Raghavan continues from the Barrett Avenue end of the ground. Solid first over for him, gave up just 3 runs. And Kalicharan opening the face of the bat and letting that run just wide of the man at point. Gary Graham retreats, picks that up for a single. This will be the first ball that Clinton has faced off the lefty spinner. Kalicharan up until then with 4 runs off 7 balls faced against Srini. If there's anything you would say Clinton has feasted on this season, it has been left arm spin. 125 the strike rate, between 100 and 110 against everything else. Digs this one out and deposits it to mid-wicket and is immediately looking for the second. That is some good running between the wickets by Clinton and Kalicharan, who have got a good understanding with each other by now. Continue to look for a bit of acceleration at this point in the match, trying to break free of the shackles against a lefty spinner. Opportunity maybe to start working your way down the pitch a little bit, try and force him off of his game plan. Fielding changes after that double from Clinton the ball before. He sees the gap now over at point, slides that into place. This time around, at least attacked, Kirsten Kalicharan did, attacked as if he was going to try to go for a second, but thought better of it. And he'll face the next delivery. 4 so far off the first 3. Kalicharan in the air, but through a gap on the offside. Rahul Jariwala boundary riding. He'll get that in. This one picked up in the air. It's towards the gap on the onside rather for Clinton. Jadiwala gets to it, cuts it off, and will hold it to just a single. A couple of balls hit well here by Ruben Clinton, either in terms of placement or just sheer force. 6 off the over. Final ball coming up here of the over from Raghavan, and that is going to sneak under the bat of Kalicharan and into the gloves of Lahiru Milanta. So 6 from the over, 47 for no loss through 8.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need one hand on the roof, one hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go rewards, when you fuel, you save because rewards come first.
Go to the scorecard graphic yet through 8 overs because, well, basically there it is on the left side of the screen. Clinton and Kalicharan, that's all that the Lashings have needed. They are nearing what would be a fourth 50 partnership in 6 games together. Just 3 runs shy of it. They're going to have to face off with the off-spinner Pranay Suri, though, to do it. First action for Pranay from the San Pedro end. Former USA Youth International. The first delivery pounded into the ground. And a dot to start. Suri, a 30-year-old originally from Hyderabad. And middle overs have generally been where he shined. He's got a 6.75 economy overall, but it drops down to 6.14 in the middle overs. That one threw a gap on the offside in the covers. And a single for Clinton, who has begun to pick the pace up just a little bit. Suri last year was one of the leading wicket takers in minor league cricket. Ended up 4th in the league, but he led the league after an insane couple of weeks where he took a pair of 6-wicket hauls. One of them up in Seattle, the other right here at Morgan Hill. I had the joy of being on the call for it. Ended up with 26 total wickets. Kalicharan just gets an under edge to that. Could have gone anywhere. Hands to the head for both Milanta and Devtadani as they could not believe that did not hit timber. Lashings moved to 49. Suri working quickly. Clinton bunts that one away. Suri working fast doesn't give Clinton a lot of chance to figure out where the new fielding placements are as they get themselves moved for him. Plays that one very late. Another dot for Suri. Good economical over for him so far, right in line with what we've seen from him all season. And that one worked over towards Gary Graham. He'll hold The two Lashings batters right where they are, so just 2 off of it from Pranay Suri. And that's going to do it here for the 9th over. 49 for no loss for the Lashings. The run rate slowing down considerably the last few.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट में क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
10th over, Srinivas Raghavan continues. That one is aerial and taken, and the 50 partnership is denied. End of the road for Kirsten Kalicharan, and a lovely leaping catch from Saurabh Netravalkar at backward point. We'll get a look here at the ball that claimed it and finally broke the partnership. The pressure had indeed been mounting. A reminder, SoCal was sitting at, I believe it was 37, or 36 rather, for the loss of, 35, that's what it was. 35 for no loss through 4 overs. They have now put up just 14 in the last 5, and make it 5.1 as they now lose the wicket of Kirsten Kalicharan. Everybody around the field leaping, so we saw Dev Tadani over there. We'll get in a second look at that in a moment here as Saurabh Netravalkar popped up and made that catch. 49 for 1 with a new batter on his way out to the crease for the Lashings. Back at it here, first wicket down on 49 runs. Kirsten Kalicharan departs for 27. Flighted ball here from Raghavan and an attempt by Milantha to take the bails off. I believe the new man at the crease is Harpreet Singh, but we're still waiting for confirmation from the scoreboard on that. But either way, 49 for 1. Series of dot balls here by Srini Raghavan. Speeds things up a little bit. It was a nice flighted ball that Milantha tried to take the bails off on. Now stepping across his stumps is Harry, and he'll ladle that one over the top of the man at mid-off. Just a single here as Ravi Singh runs it in. It is indeed Harpreet Singh on strike now for the SoCal Lashings, and he will retain the strike after that single. 50 up for the Lashings, 50 for 1 through 10.
What got into you?
At SoCal, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
Pranay Suri is going to stay on at the San Pedro end. Off spin continuing from that side. Left arm spin from the Barrett Avenue end at this point, and the first delivery to Harry. It's a swing and a miss into the gloves of Lahiru Milanta. Suri over the wicket, and that one's taken off the bails. And Harry Singh's time at the crease will be short this afternoon. Just a single run off of 7 deliveries faced after the wicket of Kirsten Kalicharan. And that makes it 50 for 2 now for the SoCal Lashings, as they are just trying to find their way back to the fluency they had early. This one getting, it would appear, just a little bit of turn as it was aimed a little bit outside of off stump, maybe a 4th stump line. It found its way in to knock off the top of off. And it was Biju I was talking to earlier about this pitch. He believed there might be a little something in it for spin late on. We certainly didn't see it in the first innings of Game 1. East Bay batted very fluently. Most of the wickets taken by the likes of Guyan Fernando, although Vedant Jain did have one. But in the second innings and so far here, that prophecy has come to pass. 8 of 9 wickets recorded by spin bowlers for East Bay in the San Diego innings. And so far here, first 2 have fallen to spin, Srini Raghavan and now Pranay Suri, knocking off Kalicharan and Harpreet. New man at the crease is going to be Mrunal Patel. And Mrunal has started to really pick up the pace the last handful of matches, a 33 and a 55 in his last 2 innings. Swings and misses at the first offering from Suri, reaching out and trying to slap one through the offside. That one connected. That's more what he was looking for on the first one. Single through covers. Mrunal, a pretty shrewd choice considering the recent use of Srini Raghavan at the other end. He has been feasting off of left arm orthodox spin as well as left arm pace. Be happy to let Clinton deal with the off spinner right now, as that one's dropped in front of Jadiwala as well. A couple of singles here, and that was what the Lashings were doing so well in the early going, rotating the strike, putting away the odd boundary, but preventing the mounting of pressure. It's a full toss knocked straight back to Pranay Suri by Mrunal Patel, but that is a bump ball. No, that is not a bump ball. That is a wicket. My mistake here. Such an understated reaction from Pranay Suri. I thought it was a bump ball. I thought he was just saying, okay, that's the end of my over. I'm done. No, that is a line shot off the bat of Mrunal Patel. He won't get to face any left arm spin. He's gone to the offie. 2 wickets inside the over here for Pranay Suri. And let's take a look at this one. What a reaction snag for him. Very full delivery. And not only does he take the wicket, but he saves the life of the umpire, it would appear. Sundaram Subramanian just absolutely knifing out of the way there. Actually, I think that might be Ravi Shankar over at that end now. They've switched from where they were in Game 1 today. But evasive action being taken. Pranay Suri able to snag that. And that is wicket number 3 down here in the 11th over. And it is all coming apart for Lashings right now. They have lost Harpreet and now Mrunal very cheaply. As we said, 4 overs into this, 35 for no loss. Since then, 17 for 3 in 7 overs. Not even 2.5 runs and over since that quick start, and it's been almost all spin getting this done. Dev Thadani has thrown in a couple of overs from the San Pedro end, But mostly it's been Srini Raghavan. And it's been Pranay Suri now getting in on the act. And don't look now, but here comes some really fascinating spin. Shehan Jayasuriya about to take on Ruben Clinton. I've got to get this stat out before it either isn't prophetic anymore or it gets mussed up. I'm going to have to wait one delivery. First delivery worked to the offside. That'll be a single for Clinton. And that single is special because that is just the 5th run in 27 deliveries against lefties against Shehan Jayasuriya. Coming into the game today, his economy against left-handed batters was .92, and his average was 1 because he's also taken 4 wickets to go along with what is now 5 runs on 27 balls. Bowling in Seattle has been really fun for him year in, year out. Now he's going to have to deal with a righty. He's a little more pedestrian against those. 4.91 economy, an average of 9. All small sample size, of course. 8 overs, all bowled in Seattle. This is run down nicely to third man. Saurabh Netravalkar puts in the chase, and it'll be a pair of runs here for Ravi Timbawala, who gets himself off the mark. Timbawala, somebody who spent some time in the USA setup back in 2016. Highlighted by a 73 not out against Canada in the Autie Cup. Drives this one wide of the man at the cover. And shockingly, given his economy, suddenly this seems to be the bowler that SoCal Lashings are starting to push the pace against a little bit. Whether that's because it's the part-timer or because it just has to be now, hardly matters, actually. That'll be another quick single here for Clinton, and there's where you see the intent. Off like a shot as soon as he made contact with the ball. Lashings were going at almost 9 runs and over at one point. They now have a projected score of 98. Looking to get a move on. That one guided into the outfield as well. Ravi Singh to it. Another single off Jayasuriya. Shehan, of course, also saw action for the Seattle Orcas back in Major League Cricket, mostly from the batting side of the card. That one put nicely into the vacant mid-wicket area, and Clinton wants a second, and he will get it. That's going to put Ravi Timbawala on strike as we get started for the next over. 12 in the books. Run rate up to 5s again now, 60 for 3.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Pranay Suri is going to continue from the San Pedro end. Ruben Clinton in that last over, 4 runs off of Jayasuriya on 3 balls. I'll remind you, he had given up 4 runs on 26 deliveries going into that. This is why we say the stats while we still can. That one just past the stumps at the non-striker's end by Timbawala. Single to start here off of Pranay, who so far has given up now just 5 runs off his first 13 deliveries. Nicely dragged there by Ruben Clinton towards a wide long on. Timbawala coming in with an 89 strike rate and a 10.5 average. Played last season with the Hollywood Master Blasters, as he'll guide that one through the gap on the offside for a single. 34-year-old LA native. And Timbawala, he, Mrinal Patel, and Ayan Desai, who we're going to get a good look at. An absolute eyeful of in the run chase. Those three, likely now to be the only three players that will have suited up for all three of the Southern California MILC teams. They've each started with San Diego, then went to Hollywood, and are now with SoCal. Guided to the backward 45, Gary Graham quickly pouncing on it. Debating whether to call that third man or deep gully, whatever's going on there with Gary Graham's positioning. That is airborne, could be a chance, backpedaling and taking it is the man at long on, Shehan Jayasuriya. And so the pressure finally does give here, and Ruben Clinton is forced to say goodbye. 20 off 35. Reasonably valuable contribution, but it did take a while to come together for him. We'll get a look here at the wicket. Surrey attacking and putting one more or less at the feet of Ruben Clinton, and just not enough room for him to really extend the hands and drive it. And you can see the frustration as he pounds the bat into the pitch in a bit of frustration. So 20 off 36 it will be as he loses his wicket. No boundary balls for Ruben, all a matter of industry between the wickets. And really, since the East Bay innings concluded, boundaries have been tough to come by for both of the Southern California sides. Kirsten Kalicharan has had two fours and a 6 en route to his run a ball 27. There hasn't been a single other one hit by Lashings, and I'll remind you, the San Diego innings didn't feature a boundary until the 18th over. And even then, the first one was just kicked over the boundary by mistake by the fielder. Wasn't until the first ball of the 20th that anybody really hit anything with authority for San Diego, and it has been a similar feel here, besides one bomb hit off of Sarab Netravalkar. Of all the bowlers to victimize for a 6, SoCal have not been able to put together much else. So it'll be Elmore Hutchinson, the 41-year-old Westmoreland, Jamaica native, but longtime USA international, debuting in 2012. Most recent match for the Stars and Stripes came back in late 2021. First delivery tapped into the ground. It's got a high here in minor league cricket of 47 coming back in 2021 against Seattle. So far, 23 not out, his high score this season. That is going to be apparently the end of the Prane Surrey over. We thought from what we were seeing on the scoreboard that there was one more ball left. But apparently a dot, then a wicket, then another dot. So that is all she wrote for the 13th. 63 for the loss of 4. At least based on the evidence so far, if Lashings are looking to push the pace, this is the last guy they want to see coming in at the Barrett Avenue end. Srini Raghavan, at the very least, Lashings will be happy to be seeing the back of him after this over, but a wicket and just 10 runs conceded off of 18 deliveries. First ball is to Timbawala, worked into the vacant mid-wicket area. Hutchinson looking sprightly as he headed down to the striker's end. Looked like he was thinking about perhaps a second at first. A single to start as their run rate remains around 5. Approaching the death overs. The Lashings have had a real issue with losing wickets in clumps at the end of their innings. Just a 12.5 average in the death overs, that is runs per wicket. Hutchinson wanted that single, but Timbawala was not along with him for the ride. Surrey rushes in, holds him there at that end for a dot. That one worked to mid-wicket again, another single here, this one for Hutchinson. It certainly looked like the flat wicket that Gary Graham promised us in the open for the first innings of Game 1, but it has been a whole different ball game since. At least for 4 overs at the start of this one, it seemed to be the same thing. We thought maybe we were just looking at San Diego having trouble. That one pumped into the ground by Srini. Nice pickup by Gary Graham. Zing Bales lit up well in advance as I think Srini stepped through the wicket, trying to collect the throw from Gary. Quick single run on that. I said it before, though. He's either been very economical or he's been a strike bowler, and today he's been both. There it is indeed. Raghavan crashing into the stumps as he tried to field Gary's throw. That one tapped towards Pranay Surrey at the covers. Maybe mid-off. And that's going to do it. Alternating singles and dots throughout the 14th over. Lashings 67 for 4. Timbawala on strike as we start the 15th over. Pranay Surrey working from the San Pedro end, and why not keep the spin coming? It has been awfully effective so far. First delivery worked over towards Dev Tadani on the offside. Nothing there. Keeping a wide line, and that's worked towards cow corner region. Ravi Singh in to grab it. Another single here worked, but that at the moment not going to get the job done. Still 6 wickets in hand. Not a lot of batting left in the shed, though. Abhimanyu Rajap, the last big finisher they've got, as Hutchinson tries to guide that wide of Tadani. What a fantastic effort. Dev's fielding prowess really was how he introduced himself to us back in 2021 before the bowling looked particularly useful. There is an attempt to destroy a cricket ball by Elmore Hutchinson. Where on earth is that going to land? Wow! First boundary hit by anybody other than Kirsten Kalicharan in today's second match, and that was absolutely mashed. That is what you expect from Elmore Hutchinson late in the piece. And it looks like Surrey just getting the length a bit wrong. If you are short to Hutchie, it is going to, well, it's not going to go short. Let's just say that. Spin has been the way to bottle him up so far this year, though. 67 strike rate and a 7 average. Compare that to 160 versus pace and 38.5. He would desperately love a crack right now at Colin Archibald or Saurabh Netravalkar or Dev Thadani. But for the time being, he's got to make do and get some runs on the board. 6 is followed by a dot. Good comeback there from Surrey after a bit of a loose ball. Last over of Surrey's spell. That one is airborne for a little bit, but is on one big looping hop to Ravi Singh at long on. A single to finish. 15 runs off the 4 overs of Pranay Surrey's work and 3 wickets. SoCal Lashings, 15 overs gone, 74 for 4. A little equipment maintenance here. A reminder of what is at stake at this point. These two teams presently level in the standings, albeit with Silicon Valley Strikers having 2 matches in hand. For SoCal, a victory today would put them in very good stead for a playoff situation. It would really only allow Seattle to draw level with them and only Golden State to potentially pass them from below. It would eliminate the San Diego Surf Riders from most contention here at this point. 2 wins this weekend would mean they'd barely need any help. They would just need the Grizzlies not to sweep their 3. But even a single victory means that there would be an avenue for them to get in next weekend. They would need the Grizzlies to lose to the Blazers, which on the evidence of today is absolutely potentially in the cards. And they would need Golden State and Seattle to split their pair on Saturday and Sunday. Presently scheduled to be in Santa Clara, maybe in Davis. We'll get back to you. First delivery from Colin Archibald here in the death overs is a single off the bat of Elmore Hutchinson. And I believe there is some sort of error in the record keeping here because Elmore's only listed with 4 runs to his name. I remember 6 of them very clearly. Single here for Timbawala. Had some issues with scorecard dramatic happenings in our first game. Had us thinking that David White had gotten his half century, his 2nd of the season. They went back and fixed something that we picked up in the moment when it went wrong, but it ended up meaning that White was just a single run short. From over the wicket, Archibald able to sneak that one by Elmore. Really, for Hutchinson, on the evidence of this season, it's Dev Thadani that he would love to see come in. 69 runs on the season off 41 deliveries and 9 boundary shots off of right arm pace. Hasn't faced a lot of left armor. Guides this one in through a gap on the offside. It's going to take a big finish. Hutchinson's certainly someone who could help deliver that. Haven't seen a lot of that from Timbawala. He has put together a 22 off 22 against Golden State. The likely next man in would be Abhimanyu Rajap, and he absolutely has put up a finisher-style innings this season. Although you might have loved to have gotten him up there with spin in the game. He is a positively goofy 43 off 17 against spinners. That's in the air, but it'll get over the top of Gary Graham, another single. Four so far from the Archibald over. Started with a very good first over of work and then a very erratic second over for Archibald, in which he had 2 wides and 2 no balls. Struggled to find the radar, be it for the ball or his feet. $21 given up so far off 17. Here comes the final ball of the 16th. Pounded into the ground and on one big hop to Colin Archibald, so a tidy 16th over. Lashings continue to struggle to try to get away and build a total. They've got 4 overs left to make this defensible. 78 for 4. The middle overs bowling for Silicon Valley strikers has just been absolutely outstanding. So very tight. Keeping a good line, hitting their lengths properly. Not really allowing much of anything besides that Elmore Hutchinson 6 that was utterly destroyed over long on. No boundaries since Kirsten Kalicharan. And it only gets tougher here as Saurabh Netravalkar is back into the attack. Netravalkar, believe it or not, among the less economical bowler, in fact, the least economical bowler, him and Jayasuriya, both at 8 runs and over. He was targeted for just the 3rd 6 he's given up this season by Kirsten Kalicharan. Until Hutchinson's, that was the only maximum of the innings. Timbawala will flick that one to point for a single. Lashings have been able to do this part. After getting stuck, absorbing a lot of pressure, courtesy of Dev Tadani and Srinivas Raghavan, they've managed to rotate strike well, but they're just not getting the big hits. Not finding gaps, not putting enough of a charge into it. They were 35 for no loss after 4 overs. In the 12 overs since, 12 and 1 ball, 44 for 4. Tadani's given up 3 runs in 2 overs. Raghavan 13 in his 4, Surrey 15 in his 4, and together those 2 spinners have taken all 4 wickets. Hutchinson pounds one from Netravalkar into the ground on the onside. Another single. I don't know that we've seen much of SoCal losing their shape as batters. They've by and large maintained wickets, being 4 wickets down in the 16th, 17th over. It's not a bad thing. They just cannot seem to find the big hits. Saurabh targeting the stumps. Timbawala digs the Yorker out, but Saurabh down into his left to maintain that one on the pitch. From around the wicket. That one guided straight to Gary Graham. He'll go for the direct hit. Timbawala looked to be back in plenty of time, well backed up by Surrey. Another dot ball for Saurabh. Saurabh's best figure is going 4 for 11 against the Golden State Grizzlies. Back up at Davis. Took a hat trick against Seattle to help initiate a batting collapse. This time around, he's got the chance to really finish things off, with the spinners having done, by and large, the work of restraining and knocking over SoCal Lashings. That one to long on. Single for Timbawala. 1 ball left, and it'll be faced by Hutchinson. Just so easy to take somebody like Netravalkar for granted, but this is actually his best MILC season thus far. Economy, strike rate, and average, all better than either of his first 2 seasons, and he's been a best 11 player both of those years. Leader of a team that won a title and then won its division and only narrowly lost in the Pacific Conference Championship match. And this is the best version of him we've gotten. Over the wicket to Hutchinson, that one coming up and maybe getting a piece of Elmore's hip. Indeed, it's going to be a leg by to finish off the over. Elmore retains the strike to start the 18th. 82 for the loss of 4. The 20-year-old Dev Thadani is going to get over number 18. Netravalkar and Archibald each have 1 left, but Thadani will also have 1 left after this. So the exact pair of bowlers that'll take the 19th and 20th, still a source of some mystery. Colin Archibald has, thus far this season, albeit in just 2 matches, been torched at the death. So maybe Thadani, Netravalkar, Thadani. This is the guy, though, that I think Hutchinson is going to want to target. His greatest success this year has come against right-arm pace. And today in this outfit, there's only 1 of them for the strikers. The only problem is he has been among the most effective of them. Just 4 runs now conceded off his first 13 deliveries. Started his day with a maiden back in the 5th. Looking for a leg stump Yorker there, worked off by Timbawala towards the boundary. That'll be a single, and Hutchinson will look to sink his teeth in. As we said, the lone remaining recognized batsman left in the shed is Rajap. That one popped up, perhaps again off the body by Elmore. There is the leg by signal from Sundaram Subramanian. Gorgeous Yorker. I don't know how it missed Timber. Good work by Lahiru Milantha to keep it from skipping all the way to the boundary. That was a nasty delivery from Dev Thadani. Ravi Timbawala also shaking his head. How am I still here? Milantha trying to put everything back where it belongs. Hat, gloves, leg bones, hip bones. Everything connected? Let's go. That one's in the air. It's going to fall short of Ravi Singh at long on. Another single. Another tight over from Thadani. He's given up just 3 off the bat, plus the leg by to Hutchinson. And now he knocks over Hutchie. finally gets a wicket here on the final delivery of the third over in his spell. And it's going to have to be Abhimanyu Rajpurohit to try to get something done here for the Lashings and even get them to triple figures. But Thadani, perfect length through the gate, knocking over leg stump. Hutchinson gets the double figures, but not much further. 12 off 17. And we'll get a look here at the attempt. Looks like the shot thrown a little bit on the late side. In baseball terms, you'd say he got the fastball and he snuck it by him. 2 overs left. Rajab coming out, 86 for 5. Abhimanyu Rajpurohit is going to be the next man in at 7. But it's going to be Timbawala to face the first delivery here of the 19th against Netravalkar. Targeting the stumps a little bit over it, and that is beautifully worked by Timbawala for a 4. That's the sort of thing that they are going to need here from the final couple of overs. That one run off to third man just by the dive of Colin Archibald. With Rajap and Timbawala out there, I can't help it. They've got the Lakers font on the back of those jerseys. As we take a look at this shot here, a little bit of width on offer here. Not intentionally by Netravalkar, but Timbawala making it for himself by moving towards his leg side. Now a big swing. Looks like that got a piece of pad. No signal for leg by, though, so that will be runs for Timbawala, and that'll get Rajap on strike for the first time here. Just 10 balls left. Lashings just trying to make sure they get to triple figures here. Anything else would be gravy at this point, but I was starting to say the 8 and the 18. I just see Kobe Bryant and Sasha Vujacic when these two are together. I see Shaq and Kobe when he stands next to Ayan Desai with the 34. That one down leg side, collected by Milantha. Over Saurabh Netravalkar has claimed a scalp. Just one game all season he hasn't been among the wickets. Make sure that's not going to happen again today now, 1 for 24. Rajab goes for just a 2-ball duck. And it has been that kind of day for the SoCal Lashings here against the Strikers. Silicon Valley, you might imagine, taking it a little bit personally what happened down in Van Nuys. That match, something of a shock to the system, as they lost Lahira Milantha early in the chase for a 3-ball duck to Ayan Desai. Despite 55 runs from Shahan Jayasurya, got almost nothing from anyone else. 21 from Jadiwala, 11 from Srini Raghavan. And were otherwise held to single-digit totals and a pair of other ducks, Mohak Butch and Anshul Singh. 2 wickets each from Desai, Sandhu, and Hutchinson. It's going to take a performance like that with ball in hand to even make this interesting. And one of the things that has given SoCal headaches is the whole net run rate conversation. Besides San Diego, they do have the lowest in this division. They have concerns about it potentially costing them down the stretch. Sanchit Sandhu, though, first ball faced, is going to be rolled just shy of the boundary. That'll be a pair as it's picked up by Srini Raghavan. Netravalkar will go for more than a run a ball for just the second time this season. How much more than a run a ball? Well, Sanchit Sandhu has something to say about that as Sarab will bowl his final delivery of today's action in just a moment. And it's just going to be 2 runs past the run a ball mark. A bit of an appeal there for perhaps contact with a pad. It looked like a swing and a miss. I'm not sure Milanta picked that up clean. Might be worth a look at a replay to see if we've got any sense of what they saw or heard here. Might well have been an appeal for caught behind in that case. Thought that maybe there was a feathered edge. Either way, Netravalkar goes for the 4 early. Picks up the wicket of Abhimanyu Rajap. As we get a look here at that final delivery that zoomed just over the bails. My goodness, he almost got it in a way that would have had no doubt. No need for an appeal when the lights are going crazy. Instead, though, just a dot to finish. 1 for 26, Sarab Netravalkar. And Lashings 93 for 6 with 6 balls left to do something about this total. It's going to be Ravi Timbawala on strike here. 20 runs for him so far. Tied with Clinton for the second leading scorer today. Puts this one in the air. Taken! No, it's on a bounce. My mistake. I didn't catch the ball in the air. Got a little help, I think, from Ravinder Pal Singh over here at long off. I heard the impact. I looked up. I lost sight of the ball, and I saw the fielder catch it, but did not realize it had taken a bounce in front of him. Either way, a nice play. Saves a 4 in that case. That ball was moving at a rate of knots. Single instead off Tadani. Just the 7th run off of him in 3.1 overs as he is handed the 20th. That one worked backwards of square. Long run, and that one will be a 4. Arsh Bush not able to chase it down. As we said, Lashings 35 for no loss, 4 overs into this first innings as we see Timbawala moving across his stumps to make some room and beat Butch this time. It appears that Arsh is still in the process of looking for the cricket ball. I think it got lost amidst the pitch cover, which you wouldn't know it looking at the sunny conditions right now, but it saw some action earlier this morning. First innings of our match featured an interruption just after the 10th over and another one in the middle of the 18th due to quick 10-minute rain showers. They continue to search, but I do believe the umpiring crew has asked for the big old box of balls to find one to use for these last 4 deliveries. Starting to say, though, 35 for no loss through 4 overs. The remaining 16, almost, 15.2, have now gone for just 63. Barely 4 runs and over for the duration after such a bright start. Spin came into the attack, put on the clamps, started taking wickets. The Lashings have not looked themselves, just a single boundary after the dismissal of Kirsten Kalicharan back in the 10th over. Just shy of that 50 partnership. And they still have some work to do just to get to triple digits against Tadani, who's given up only 11 today. Swing and a miss. They'll stay on 98 for the time being. Just a clinic in terms of disciplined bowling here by the Silicon Valley Strikers. That one on the ground into the vacant mid-wicket area. Long run. They'll look to take the 2, and that will bring up the 100 for SoCal Lashings. Well, the throw down to Milantha's end certainly made it closer than it initially looked like it might be. Two balls remain. Sanchit Sandhu is going to face the first of them. Ladles that one to mid-wicket. My apologies earlier. I think I misidentified the one who hit the 4. That nice 4 down by backward square. That wasn't Timbawala anymore. That was Sanchit Sandhu, who looks as though he will finish with a 9 not out off 6 unless he gets run out on this delivery. Timbawala with a nearly run a ball 21 is going to face the final delivery of this first innings. Pushes that one through the gap on the offside. Long run for Jadiwala. They take the first. They will come back for a second. But that is as much as they're going to be able to get. Just a handful of boundaries in the course of this innings. Timbawala and Sandhu each with a 4. Hutchinson with a 6 late on. It was certainly a signature moment, but just not nearly enough of it here in the first innings. Kirsten Kalicharan himself with 2 4s and a 6, and that is it for the boundary count. 103 for 6. And the target set at 104. And we take a look here at the batting card. Timbawala winds up the second leading scorer with a run a ball 23. Clinton a rather slow 20. He and Kalicharan put on a decent partnership to start things off. Got a few extras here and there, courtesy of wides and no balls, few leg buys here and there as well. You see 10 of those all told down at the bottom of the scorecard. But once that opening partnership was done, and even before it was done, just not enough coming, because the bowling from Silicon Valley was astounding. Look at that there. 3 economies of 4 or less. 1 for 16, Thadani with a maiden. 1 for 13, Raghavan. 3 for 15. Best figures of the day there for Pranay Suri. And even the ones who did go for a few runs didn't go for many. 8 off the single over from Jayasurya. Netravalkar goes for a little over a run a ball, but takes a wicket down towards the end. Archibald keeps it reasonably tight besides that 1 over with all the extras that came up in it. And we're going to take a look at the highlights here, and it is an awful lot of Silicon Valley strikers after about the 4th over. As we said, Lashings got off to a nice start. There is Kirsten Kalicharan's lone 6 of the game. He would pick up a 4 as well on this one that he managed to put over Gary Graham at fine leg. A few really nice-looking shots early. This one here run off the edge of the bat, though, and into the hands of Saurabh Netravalkar at third man. And that was the first wicket in the 9th over, and the clamps had already been applied. Pranay Suri would keep that rolling, taking out Harpreet Singh for just a single run on 7 deliveries. Mrunal Patel, maybe the play of the day there from Pranay Suri as he saves the life of an umpire and takes the wicket of Mrunal. Just 2 of Pranay Suri's 3 wickets. This right here, in the air to Jayasurya, would be the 3rd. And at this point, the rout well and truly on here in the first innings. Hutchinson, really the only person to hit anything from Suri very hard, and boy did he. Tried to make up for every soft bit of contact all in one swing. Speaking of hard contact, Devdadani blowing up leg stump here on Hutchinson. That took him out. That happening on the final ball of the 18th over at 86 for 5. Saurabh Netravalkar would be victimized by a 4 here from Ravi Timbawala as Lashings looked to accelerate any way they could. They would pick up another one here to backward square off the bat of Sanchit Sandhu. Sandhu finishing with 9 off 6. But that was about all they could get. And so with that card, Silicon Valley have done half the job, maybe 70% of the job. The target is absolutely gettable, and we will see whether 104 proves much of a challenge when we come back in about 15 minutes for the run chase. SoCal Lashings with some work to do with ball in hand. 104 is the target set by the Silicon Valley Strikers. Excuse me, rather by the SoCal Lashings for the Silicon Valley Strikers to try to chase down. Lashings are going to be hoping to make it as much work as possible. And of course, ideally for them, too much work. It'll be Arshbuch and Lahira Milanta to start at the center for the Silicon Valley Strikers. And as has been the case all season, the first ball is handed to the LA kid, Ayan Desai. And he has been phenomenal this season. Someone who has really begun to come into his own, was part of the U19 America's Cup squad that had an opportunity to potentially qualify for a World Cup, but lost that chance when it was canceled due to COVID. Canada went instead. In fact, he and Rahul Jariwala were both part of that. The Lashings have apparently been after him from the very get-go of this league. Somebody who's repped the West Zone in the USA Under-19 Championships before. Somebody who, as we mentioned in the first innings, just like Ravi Timbawala and Mrunal Patel, has now played for all three Southern California sides. But this team's wanted him, and it's been quite the glow-up. After last season, just 4 wickets in 33 overs for an average of 76.5. This year, 11 wickets at 16 per, a power play monster. And he and Sanchit Sandhu are going to do some double-barrel work today to try to restrict the beginning of this run chase. Power play bowling has been the trick for the SoCal Lashings so far. Here comes Desai with the first ball. And that one takes a loop around Lahira Milanta. Ends up wide of the stumps. We'll see if that's going to be given as a leg side wide by our umpire. No, in fact, it did get a piece of the pads, so a leg by to start. But right away, that prodigious swing that we've seen from Ayan Desai all season on full display. That ball started at off stump and ended up behind him. For SoCal Lashings, the order of the day is going to be break this up into 3 over chunks. Try to stay tight. Try not to project too far ahead. Do what you've been doing. And you know you have the bowling to keep yourselves in this. They held Silicon Valley to just barely a run a ball the first time these two teams met. And in that case, it pulled them up 21 runs shy. Second delivery coming from Desai. That's a full toss, tapped right over the head of Ayan. It's an attempted run out. Looks like Milanta was well home when the ball hit the stumps. But a good feeling there to see the ability to strike timber. Silicon Valley Strikers, as we see the attempted run out here. Some good fielding. Here comes the throw, well in. Not even just past the crease line, but all the way past the stumps themselves. Milanta, no drama on that one, but this is a team that can absolutely do some fielding. Mrunal Patel, somebody to look out for in particular. Very slick fielding player, often in the covers. Big swing from Arshbuch, and the finger goes up, and that is all for him. It's a golden duck for Butch, or rather a 2-ball duck for Butch, as he is trapped leg before. A problem all last season for him. And Ayan Desai has struck, and that is exactly how you draw it up if you're the SoCal Lashings. Again, the in-swing here, that one originally aimed at about a 4th or 5th stump line, comes swerving back in. Picks up Bush's pad. It may well have been a full toss, but there's not a lot you can do when it's moving that much at that velocity. So 2 for the loss of 1. Butch gone for none off 2. And that'll bring out the classic number 3. Rahul Jariwala has been in this role the last handful of matches due to the absence of Shahan Jayasuriya. They'll be happy to have Shahan back. 31-year-old from Colombo. He'll be 32 on Tuesday, so in case we don't see you later on, Shahan, happy birthday. Represented Sri Lanka from 2015 to 2020 and retired from cricket over there upon marrying his American wife, Kavisha. Here in minor league cricket, he has been a force to be reckoned with. 2022, a 146 strike rate and an average a hair under 50. One of only 2 players in the league to have multiple century scores, both of those coming in a magical weekend in Texas over the July 4th weekend. And it was right arm pace and leg spin that he particularly obliterated last season. With him in the game so early, off spin might be something that gets involved sooner rather than later. They do have Reuben Clinton and Abhimanyu Rajap available. That was his bugaboo last year. This season, generally down across the board. 121 strike rate so far this season. His high, a 55 in a losing effort against the SoCal Lashings. First delivery coming to him from the lefty Desai. Bangs that into his own body. He'll take a quick single. Lahiru Milantha was off on contact. And for all of his heroics against right arm pace last season, the 153 strike rate, the 137 average, this season 91 and 15.5. So on recent form, Sanchit Sandhu, who likely is going to get the ball 2 deliveries from now, licking his chops. Jayasuriya, without doubt, will be a critical wicket in this match. Milantha, Jadiwala as well. Milantha just does put an edge on that and runs it past the man at slip, Reuben Clinton. Chance perhaps at the non-striker's end as the throw comes down towards Desai. Luckily some backup there as Harpreet Singh's throw was wide of the young bowler. So a pair of runs picked up there. Sandhu doing well to cover things back there at third man, but a very fine ball run off the bat by Milantha. Three off 2 for Lahiru. And he remains on strike for the final ball of the first. That one tapped through the gap on the offside, but there is further protection in the form of Abhimanyu Rajap. And that's going to do it for the over. So 5 runs off of it, 4 off the bat. Critically, the wicket of Arsh Butch already in the wickets. The LA Lashings, Silicon Valley, 5 for 1.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need 1 hand on the roof, 1 hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go rewards, when you fuel, you save because rewards come first.
And it will be Sanchit Sandhu on from the Barrett Avenue end of the ground. Sandhu has cut his economy from last season in half. 8.80 last year, which isn't great, but also isn't dreadful. This season, 4.21, 7th best in the entire league among bowlers that have bowled at least 10 overs. And in the power play, he's that much better. 3.53 inside the opening 6 overs. And as a result of that, and particularly the split with him at the death, Lashings have been recently using up his 4 overs right out of the gate. 2, 4, 6, 8. And it's gone to very good effect. Took 2 wickets for 16 runs in the first meeting here between these two teams. That down in Van Nuys is the first delivery to Jayasuriya is a dot. Perhaps his best outing, 1 for 11 against Golden State Grizzlies. That in 4 overs, and getting the wicket of Anthony Bramble in particular. He's generally not been much of a wicket taker during the power play. He's the one applying the pressure. And then eventually Ion Desai or Elmore Hutchinson or Reuben Clinton, they knock the door down. That one gets through, though, nearly an opportunity perhaps for a stumping, if that was taken cleanly, as Jayasuriya was thinking about rolling forward. Another good-looking ball from Sandhu. Get a look at the replay here as this one was targeting the stumps. Looks like it got the back leg of Jayasuriya. Bit of a half-hearted appeal. Looks like it had a bit too much swing to have actually impacted the stumps. Strong start, though, for Sandhu. That one going a bit further down leg side. Might have gotten some bat to it. Leg buys or runs, it's definitely 4 of them either way, and they are off the bat of Shahan Jayasuriya to get him well and truly underway. This a version of the ball that preceded it, but a little bit shorter and a little bit further down leg stump. First runs off Sanchit. First boundary of the day. That one hits straight to the fielder at mid-off rather. Lefty-lefty combination. I half wondered if they might go to Jadiwala, given that it was Arsh Butch that went out, to give them a righty-lefty look here in the early going, but instead they have gone with the usual number 3. So the Sri Lankan connection. Good full ball there. Blocked into the turf by Shahan. And besides the flicked 4 to fine leg, 4 dot balls here to get things started for Sandhu. Sandhu actually drafted by San Diego, but ended up returning as a free agent. Targeting off stump with that one, again worked to a fielder inside the circle. And save for the one loosener down the leg side, a sparkling over for Sanchit Sandhu. Silicon Valley, 9 for the loss of 1 through 2. A reminder of what's to come here in 2023 Sunoco Minor League Cricket, presented by Lakshmi House of Spices. Tomorrow we're back here with these same 4 teams, but we're going to scramble up the matchups. SoCal will take on the East Bay Blazers, who they fell to by 7 runs in a very closely contested game down in Van Nuys a little over a month ago. And then the Silicon Valley Strikers will get the San Diego Surf Riders, who after today's rough defeat, most likely removed from realistic contention for the playoffs now. Admittedly, though, they started the season 0-4, so that elimination happened a little later than I think we anticipated. Lashings still very much in it with a chance to be the first Southern California MILC team to make the postseason. They need at least 1 win this weekend, and they've made a lot of work for themselves here by having a somewhat underwhelming batting innings. But this power play bowling unit looking to keep that going, and that is a chance dropped at mid-wicket. Milantha ladled that one up. Going to need to see whether that might have been a bump ball rather than a bona fide chance. They don't seem particularly bent out of shape about it, so maybe that was into the ground first. To my eye live, it looked like that was an opportunity and just a little bit too tall. It goes down as a single, just 5 so far off Desai after 8 deliveries, and he's got a wicket already. Nice line and length on that, and another dot ball. Desai's glow up all the more impressive when you look at some of the impact stats calculated by various fans and analysts around MILC. Swing and a miss there, and an attempt to do the long distance stumping from Harry. Second direct hit on the day for LA Lashings, so they look to have their eye in on that front. But last year with Hollywood, big time struggles for Desai to take wickets. Like we said, the average through the roof, the economy a 9. He was the third lowest impact rating in minor league cricket among bowlers. As that one straight back to him, a return catch dropped. This season he has been among the top bowlers. A massive turnaround, but an opportunity to claim wicket number 2, and it would have been the big fish. They've had a crack at Milantha. And here a slight change of pace gets Jayasuriya to throw the shot a little early. Toe-ended it straight back to the bowler. He's been dangerous. Swing and another miss. And it thumps into the gloves of Harpreet Singh. Just a single run from it, but oh, what could have been. Both men, Milantha and Jayasuriya, dropped in the course of the third over. Silicon Valley 10 for the loss of 1.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Sanchit Sandhu will stay on from the Barrett Avenue end. Lashings with a deep man at long on. And another at mid-wicket here against Lahiru Milantha, who starts the over on strike. With the two left-handers, not a ton of movement necessary ball to ball, unless your goal is to really mix up the looks that each of the batters is seeing, or even try to change things mid-over for a certain batter. But luckily not a particularly hot day, even if they did need to move around a bunch in the field. Temperatures stayed in the low 80s. Good stiff breeze blowing down the pitch for Sanchit Sandhu. That one worked to the covers. Good foot speed on the defensive end there. Vice captain and team co-owner Abhimanyu Rajap swatting that one down and holding Milantha to just a single. I said before, if you break this thing into 3 or 4 over chunks, almost the way a team in a basketball game trying to battle back from down 20 might. Try not to get too far ahead of yourself. SoCal could absolutely make this a game. They've got the kind of bowling attack that can make 104 look a lot bigger than most. The dot here as Jayasuriya's pads were thumped by Sandhu. Just 2 scoring strokes so far. Fourth stump line, that one worked very, very fine by Shahan Jayasuriya, and that is going to run away from Gautam. 4 to third man, nicely worked by Jayasuriya. Very classy shot. Picks up that short length, realizes I can just flick that a little bit, make sure it stays aerial long enough to get over the bails if I don't get too much on it. Here comes Sanchit. Penultimate delivery of the over. Jayasuriya opens the face of the bat, but finds the fielder this time. Sandhu just relentlessly attacking, gets a good angle as he runs in a little bit wide, even though he is coming over the wicket. Trying to go across Jayasuriya with a little bit of swing back in. This time gives him a bit of width, and he's going to split the gap on the offside behind. And so a second boundary on the over, a little uncharacteristic for Sandhu, but very much on brand for Shahan. He's got all the shots, incredibly comfortable playing the ball behind himself, whether it's with scoops or cuts. That, slicey. Jayasuriya 4 getting Silicon Valley a bit more on the move. 19 for the loss of 1 through 4. First bowling change of the day. Elmore Hutchinson in from the San Pedro end of this Morgan Hill Outdoor Sports Complex ground. Protection at third man here for Lahiru Milanta, and a slip in place for Elmore, who will look to get a bit of that swing away from Milanta. Now a bit of a change in approach. Yashashwi Gautam coming in from third man, and they send out mid-wicket. Long off the other deep man here. 2 more overs with the fielding restrictions in place. First delivery to Milanta from Hutchie. Knocked down, but not very far here by Milanta as he navigates that first delivery. You'll see Hutchinson go with the occasional short ball here. Otherwise, starting them at leg stump and trying to put them into your kitchen, or starting them on a fourth stump line and trying to get you to nick off. So far on the season, 11 wickets at just under 20 runs per and a 7.3 economy, 13th in wickets in MILC, tied with his teammate Ayan Desai. Milanta tries to run that one down to third man, needed to be a little bit finer to get by Gautam. Ruben Clinton is your slip, just to the left there on your screen of Harpreet Singh. Milanta one to watch, 5 off 9 so far. He has been an absolute bellwether for this team. His average in losses is 5.5, in wins it's 42. Works that to Mrinal Patel, and look out, that is somebody who's got a cannon with laser sights. If you see that ball headed anywhere near number 2 in purple, you do not want to stray far from your stumps until you're sure he's not gunning it that direction. 3 dots to start here for Hutchinson. That one is in the air, no protection in that vicinity. The only question is, will it get over on the fly? And the answer is a resounding yes. Milanta takes Hutchinson deep. Says, that one's for my bowler that you victimized earlier, Pranay Suri. A bit of width on offer, no real danger to be concerned about, and it comes right into Milanta's arc at about hip height. That one knocked down. Mrinal Patel will snag it. Potential mix-up. Jayasuriya out of his ground over at the other end. Throw from Gautam, not on target. Much ado about nothing. A dot ball here. 1 left in the over for Hutchinson. Silicon Valley, the first 6 of the game. And Melantha wants another, and that is just backspun towards the boundary at cow corner. 2 sixes in the final 3 balls, and that is the kind of slip that SoCal can very, very much not afford at this point in the match. They need to take this as deep as they can. Just like that now. More than a quarter of the total knocked off with a quarter of the overs gone. For the first time, Silicon Valley ahead of the required run rate. End of 5, 31 for the loss of 1. All day today, it's been spin that has produced the greatest dividends, regardless of the team batting. Bit of a misfield out at point by Elmore Hutchinson. That's going to allow a run to come across. But it's Abhimanyu Rajap. He enters the encounter. Rajap just a single 9-run over against Silicon Valley the first time these two teams met. That one is a decent shout here for LBW. Nothing doing. Melantha very nearly was going to be in danger of being out hit wicket as he backpedaled his way towards his own stumps. That was well down leg. Might have been more likely to be out, caught behind if he had gotten a touch of the bat to it. 3 dots, though, to start for Abhimanyu. Change here in the defense as Brunal Patel is going to come out here to long on. Mid-wicket comes inside the circle. Also got a deep man at cow corner. And so Melantha will make use of the offside where no one roams. Shoots that one between Reina and Hutchinson for a 4. Saw that gap right away, used that gap. Just well-timed, waited for that one to get into a position where he could put it where no one was located. Gives that one a little more pace, and Melantha destroys it towards the pavilions. A third 6 in the last couple of overs. Generally not someone who's had much success against off spin. 73 the strike rate on the season. This one bowled into the surface very short and given the treatment. Comeback ball here for Rajap. Did not get that one out of the park on the last one for 6. That did actually land inside the rope for a 4. So 8 from it. Couple of boundary strokes there, and at the end of the power play, Silicon Valley Strikers 39 for the loss of 1. After a strong start from Desai and Sandhu, not quite the desired results from the first set of bowling changes. Hutchinson Went dot, 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 but then a pair of sixes. Rajab dot, 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 and then a pair of fours. New bowler coming from the, or rather, not a new bowler. It's going to be Sanchit Sandhu with a change of ends. So the one over of Abhimanyu Rajab, likely in part to stagger these and get Sandhu coming from the San Pedro end. He'll bowl now at Shahan Jayasuriya. First delivery, good line and length. Jayasuriya just lets it go. At this point, Silicon Valley have got the flexibility to do that a little bit. They're now going at a little over a run a ball. They've just nudged their worm slightly ahead of that of the SoCal Lashings. This is about the point where the Lashings lights went out when Silicon Valley started playing spin from both ends. Singled along off there. Ball thrown back in from the boundary, and Jayasuriya helping out a little bit, directing it back to Sandhu. A lot of batting to come here for the Silicon Valley Strikers, but these two have somewhat been the bellwethers for their side. Milantha airborne, but going to get down in front of the man at long off. Ravi Timbawala secure out there. Fielding restrictions have been lifted, of course, so deep men all over the place now. By and large, all in front of or square of the crease. Sandhu appealing for LBW there on Shahan Jayasuriya. We'll hopefully get a look at a replay and see if there's anything to that. Half-hearted and not really joined in on by his teammates. Line looks pretty decent there. Maybe a little bit of bat on it instead of just pad. That is a full toss, and that is dispatched by Lahiru Milantha. A rare loose one from Sanchit Sandhu. This is the bowling version of the sort of pressure that can mount. With batting, you put on pressure with, or if you are a bowling team working against a batting team, you put on pressure with dot balls and hope they get silly, do something ill-advised, and lose their wicket. Here, if you're going for wickets and it's being navigated very, very well, and you know you need those to really have much of a chance in the match, that's where you can get a little over-aggressive in pursuit of the wicket instead of the dot or the single. And get a loose ball put away like that. 7 off of it, not a overly expensive over, but every one of them over 5 hurts at this point for SoCal. 58 still needed off of 13. Silicon Valley on the road to win number 5, 46 for 1.
What's up, Doug?
What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
Abhimanyu Rajab continues from the Barrett Avenue end. Besides a pair of 4s, a relatively solid over in his first. 4s on back-to-back balls against Milantha. But besides that, 4 dots. Here a single to start, and Milantha back on strike against the offie. A little bit of flight on that one. Milantha will move that to the vacant area at mid-on. Mrinal Patel, long run to try to get to it. Good running between the wickets. And they'll take a pair. reaching the point here where even after that tight start to things, just the lone wicket of Arshbuch in the first over, as you get towards over number 5, 6, 7, you start to become aware of the need to take out a few players, as wider ball from Abhimanyu Rajap trying to tempt Milantha into coming out of his crease. SoCal's got some experience with that, leaving a partnership going a bit longer than they would have liked, even at a low speed. Happened to them against Seattle. They had held them to about a run a ball, but only for the loss of 1 wicket through 15 overs, and then gave up 88 in the last 5. So you're concerned about that as a possibility. That one uppish, but finds a gap. Timbawala will get it back in, just a single there. You start to become conscious of the need to knock some people over. Few options available, decent bit of left arm spin, but likely being held out of the attack because of the 2 men at the crease right now. Jayasuriya comes forward, that one in the air on a couple of hops to Timbawala. Use of the feet. These two both among the premier batters in minor league cricket last season. And Milantha and Jayasuriya, both MLC veterans now. Milantha with TSK. Jayasuriya with the Seattle Orcas as Milantha works another single. "29-year-old from Kalathara, Sri Lanka, actually, Lahira Milantha, responsible for the first 6 in MLC history. That single off Rajap will end the over, 6 off of it. 6.62 the run rate. Silicon Valley in cruise control at 53 for 1. And it's an early return to the attack for Ayan Desai from the San Pedro end. First delivery of this 9th over to Lahira Milantha in the corridor of uncertainty. He lets it go by for a dot. Milantha now at 34, approaching that level that he has generally gotten to in matches that his team has won. 71 off 44 against San Diego, 32 off 28 against Seattle, 63 off 47 against Golden State. When he's gone slowly, his team has generally struggled. Picks up a single here. The loss to SoCal, it was a 3-ball duck, 11 off 18 against Seattle in the first game that was lost. The only thing that broke that up was the 7-ball duck against Golden State in a match that the Strikers just barely got home on. Jayasuriya navigates that one, poking it to long on. Another easy single, all a bit too easy at this point for the Strikers. It was Desai that got Milantha in the first meeting between these teams. We actually broke it down on the Sunoco Performance Review over on the MLC Network. Played with length and swing brilliantly to eventually blow up his stumps, trying to wrap one around, and Milantha gets just enough bat on that to drive it fine. Another boundary shot here, and Milantha has found those with alarming frequency, especially after Two Southern California innings, that of San Diego and that of SoCal, that did not yield much in the way of boundaries. Milantha starting to make it look easy. .59 for one now. And he's got 4 fours and a pair of maximums. Beginning to look like a bona fide match-winning innings here for Lahiru Milantha, albeit in a situation where you would expect to chase down this total if you're the strikers, if you've got the pedigree you've had so far. And certainly from this point. Swivels and hits this one to square leg. Man out there is Rubel Reina. And that is a single to finish these this over, up 60 for one. The partnership now all the way up to 58 runs between Jayasuriya and Milantha, the Sri Lankan connection, getting it done for Silicon Valley. 60 for the loss of 1 through 9.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Pushes that into the onside for a single. Brief hint of a misfield. Jayasuriya thought about taking off, but thought better of it. .16 so far off the 13 Abhimanyu Raja balls. That one behind point. Long run here for Elmore Hutchinson. Might have the wheels to make it to the boundary. No. But another pair of runs, and those twos sting a bit at this point too. Target just 41 runs away for Silicon Valley, who would go to 5-2 on the season. Close back within a half game of East Bay. And just about assure those two teams of the top 2 spots. That one gets away all the way down to fine leg. Almost long stop, to be honest. Bit of an edge there for Milantha. That'll be another 2 to the total. Tapped into the ground to the offside. And a dot here as we'll take a look at the preceding ball. Or correction, just a single off of this here, and tough to tell whether Jayasuriya got anything on it. Milantha got plenty on this, though. Just over the outstretched hands of the man at cover. And across the boundary for another 4. Lashings may be very, very close to manage your run rate mode here, because Silicon Valley have a chance to really blow them out of the water here. Final ball of the over after the 4, and there's just been a loosener in every over for the last handful of them, and it has allowed the Silicon Valley strikers, with professionals of the likes of Milantha and Jayasuriya, to knock off this total relatively quickly, halfway through the overs, but nearly 2/3 of the way to the total, 69 for 1. 11th over, just 35 runs needed for Silicon Valley, and SoCal are going to deploy the left arm leg spinning Gujarati, Mrinal Patel. Coming over the wicket, Mrinal, as they finally do go to a left arm spinner at this point, holding he and Rubal Raina out of the attack as long as possible, knowing the quality of Jayasuriya and of Lahira Milantha. We saw Golden State employ that strategy, holding Vatsal Vagela out for most of the first match as Milantha went for a big total. That one roped just out of the reach of Ayan Desai at a short mid-wicket. For the briefest of moments, thought it was going to be a highlight reel catch to add some intrigue to the proceedings here, but instead, another boundary shot. Excuse me, instead a single, rather, with the protection out there at the boundary. Milantha lifts this one in the air and well over the head of Elmore Hutchinson. Another 6. And Milantha looks like he wants this one over with in a hurry. His 50 brought up in style with the 4 that preceded it. And now looking to push for something grander. The wind metaphorically and quite literally at his back right now. Just 27 runs remaining to knock off here for Silicon Valley Strikers to rejoin East Bay at the top of the table. And we know the net run rate is something to keep an eye on. They came in trailing in that. And of course, East Bay beat San Diego by 77. Their net run rate on the season, a word that probably feels like a curse word for the East Bay Blazers after they were eliminated by virtue of it against Seattle last season. Their net run rate all the way up to +1. That is turned and fired and gone again. The deep fielder is going to need to find that amidst the tarpaulins one more time. Another 6 here for Milantha. This time going to mid-wicket. So we do have it confirmed. I thought there was a boundary shot earlier that was a 1. Then the 2 6s. And he's looking for more. My goodness gracious, that one again. All the way. 3 6s in the over in the span of 4 balls. 6 6 6. Pretty beastly performance here from Lahira Milantha. The Silicon Valley Strikers opener wants to be the closer as well. And he's awfully close to getting it done. Just 15 from the total, plenty of time to get it done. 89 for 1. New off spinner coming from the Barrett Avenue end is going to be Reuben Clinton. Clinton comes in with a 9.20 economy in his 10 overs. Most of that the result of some swelling from one bad spell against the Seattle Thunderbolts. We mentioned earlier that game where wickets just weren't taken up front. Just a single wicket in the first 15 overs of that match, even as they kept Dilpreet Singh Bajwa and Ian Dev Chauhan for the most part from upping the run rate. But going into the final 5 overs at 96 for 1, Clinton came in and was boshed around the park, ended up giving up 35 in 2 overs of work. en route to 88 runs in those final 5. That loss particularly hurt for the fact that that SoCal batted well enough that if they had just held Seattle to a garden variety 2 runs a ball 60 for those 5 overs, game would have gone to a super over. This one looks like it's going to be wide of Harpreet Singh. Good work put in, but his slap has just enough backspin on it that it hits the boundary rope anyway. And it's a 4 for Shahan Jayasuriya. 65 off 40 today for Lahiro Milanta as the strikers look to get this done quickly. Came in with a .08 net run rate on the season. Well behind that as we see the great work done by Harpreet and just the cruel joke played on him by the physics of angular momentum. Another one past cover. Harpreet up with it, just a single this time, 10 away from the target to win. For Lashings, they look to refocus tomorrow against East Bay. As we told you before, a victory for the Lashings in either of the games this weekend would open up the possibility of qualifying for the playoffs. They'd become the biggest Blazers fans in the world. On Friday, coming to you again from here as the Blazers will take on the Golden State Grizzlies. They need the Grizzlies to drop to 3-5 with a loss in that game. And if the Lashings can get to 5-5, all they would need from that point would be for Golden State and Seattle to split their 2 matches. That would get it done. Silicon Valley, meanwhile, this victory on the verge of taking place, just 9 runs away. This victory would put them at 5-2. With 5 victories, they would be in a situation where SoCal could only draw level with them. Same with the Thunderbolts. Grizzlies would be the only team that could overtake them. And so they would be in pretty good stead and would be playing San Diego tomorrow, looking to lock down a playoff spot ahead of their 2 season-ending matches with East Bay. We'll tell you more about that playoff situation when we come back. 12 overs gone, 9 away from the target here, 95 for 1. And for over number 13, we're going to see a bit of a change of approach. We saw Harpreet Singh earlier running around at the boundary rope, usually the wicketkeeper, although Ravi Timbawala is taking care of the gloves today. But he is going to roll his arm over here and bowl us some off spin. First delivery fired over cover and past the rope for 4 by Lahiro Milanta. That's going to move him to 70. One shy of his season high. And again, in what would be now 3 of their 5 victories, he will have cleared the 60-run mark. 70 off 42 here. His 71 came off 44, so he's going even faster than last time. Now looking for the paddle sweep. Goes nowhere. But Harpreet Singh, last season, 10 wickets at an average of 20.6 per and a nice economy of 6.65. A little surprising not to have seen him use this season, but a lot of options available there as Milanta backing away, trying to make some space for himself. Looks like he may have hurt his elbow. Just locked it completely straight on a rather awkward swing. This one dropped in by Reuben Clinton, unable to make the clean pickup. They'll scamper for a quick single. Not much flight on that. Jayasuriya lifts this to the outfield, unable to hold it at long off is Mrinal Patel. It'll be a single, but Jayasuriya survives. Bonafide opportunity over there, as we'll keep with the live commentary as the replay goes. We've got Lahiru Milanta digging out a length ball here from Harpreet Singh. That will end the over. 6 off of it, right in line with his economy. Just 5 more needed. One swing could get it done. Shahan Jayasuriya will have that chance when we come back. Silicon Valley, 99 for 1.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need one hand on the roof, one hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go rewards, when you fuel, you save because rewards come first.
Silicon Valley, as ever, indomitable on their home ground. 13-4 all time here at Morgan Hill Outdoor Sports Complex. First delivery poked to the offside, nothing doing. Took oddball losses to Hollywood Master Blasters and Seattle Thunderbolts in 21. Had their only regular season loss against East Bay in 2022, and then fell in a super over against Chicago Tigers later that season, but that is it. Southern California teams so far, San Diego now 0-7 in this building. SoCal, for the time being, 0-6 at Morgan Hill. 3 runs from slumping to 0-7 themselves. A little bit of time needed to fetch either the original ball or a new ball for the final couple of runs to be scored. Similar thing happened at the end of the first innings after a ball got lost amidst the tarpaulins over at what is presently Backward Point. Pair of dots to start the over here for Clinton. Shahan Jayasuriya gets a thick edge on that one, and it'll run away from Yashashwi Gautam. He's chasing, but it's just for show at this point. That is a 4, and that is going to get the job done here today. Those 4 runs lift Silicon Valley to 105 for 1, and it's a 9-wicket victory. We're going to get a look once the table updates at what it does to their net run rate. But on points, at least, it draws them level again with East Bay Blazers on 10. That big, thick edge from Shahan Jayasuriya getting the job done. And we'll look forward to seeing, well, what it all means at the end of this. In fact, it's already updated. Silicon Valley moved to .39 on the net run rate. So that will leave them still in second place. SoCal Lashings dropped to 4-5 on their record. But that negative .39 net run rate could eventually become decisive if they end up in a tie with the likes of the Thunderbolts and the Grizzlies. There's a look at it here, so you're not just hearing me yell a bunch of numbers at you. So good advancement there for Silicon Valley Strikers. Their goal with a win tomorrow will be to just keep themselves in range where a pair of wins over East Bay could send them directly to Texas. They'll have those games against the East Bay Blazers on Saturday and Sunday next week. Lashings at 4-5, now in a bit of a danger zone. Seattle Thunderbolts could tie them. Golden State Grizzlies could pass them at this point. They'll need to get to 5-5. And we said before, if Grizzlies lose to the Blazers in their first game and then split the pair with Seattle, 5-5 would get you third place and would qualify you for that playoff. So still everything there to potentially play for. San Diego Surf Riders with that nasty-looking net run rate and their 6th loss of the season would appear to be now out of contention. But it sure was fun while it lasted. What a weekend at Canyon Side for them. We'll take a look here at the card for the Silicon Valley Strikers. Did not need much on the batting side today. Just 3 of them came in, and only 2 of them troubled the scorers. LBW, after a leg bye on the second ball he faced for Arsh Butch, at that point looked like maybe game on. In fact, a few overs worth of decent bowling from Desai and Sandhu had them in very good shape. But after that, it was the Milantha and Jayasurya show. Desai there, the 1 for 12, really the lone good-looking line on that bowling card. Otherwise, Sandhu touched up a bit more than usual, accustomed to him being around the 4s, ends up nearly at 7 runs and over. Elmore, just the 1 over, touched for 2 6s at the end of it and did not come back in the attack. Rajap, 24 off of his. Mrinal Patel traveled big time in his 1 over of work. And Silicon Valley got it done with a plum. No problems here. We'll take a look at the highlights, which are chiefly going to involve a lot of balls flying very, very far from the men in two-tone blue. It did start promisingly. Ayan Desai getting the LBW decision there to dismiss Arsh Butch. But the 2 Sri Lankans at the crease here, the men from Colombo and Mortua, that was all they would need, would be these 2. Jayasurya off to a good start there. Milantha with a 4 here, or excuse me, rather a dropped chance, I should say. Shashwi Gautam, a chance there. And then Jayasurya in the very next over, flirting with a return catch. Desai couldn't hold that. You do wonder, that 3rd over, very much the moment that everything seemed to turn. Sandhu, reasonably economical, although not at his recent standard. This ball run off the face by Jayasurya. A typically delicate 4 from him. Nothing delicate about this, though. Lahira Milantha, a bit of a 6 parade for him over the course of the later part of this innings. There's the first of those 6s against the big man Elmore Hutchinson. 2 of them chased him out of the attack completely. They tried to turn to off-spin. Abhimanyu Rajap victimized for a couple of 4s, although nothing else from that first over. That was one of them. Here comes the other. We're going to see most of the 11 boundary shots today for Lahira Milantha. 6 4s and 5 maximums. Sanchit Sandhu brought back into the attack from the other end, hoping for better results. They were not forthcoming. Back to Ayan Desai, and this time Lahira Milantha with a bit of success. Targeting the stumps as Desai often does, but that one with just enough Sunoco to make it to the boundary rope. Abhi Rajap served up and dismissed again. Mrinal Patel, same story. Lahira Milantha continuing to drive it deep and long and often. There's another one there to mid-wicket, maybe backward square. Direction perhaps in question, distance very much not. It was those 3 6s against Mrinal Patel that really ended all doubt in this one. And with that, it was just a matter of knocking off the last handful of runs. They try Ruben Clinton, who did keep it reasonably tight, just 6 runs off his over. 4 of them, though, coming here despite the Herculean efforts of Harpreet Singh. Singh would roll the arm over and bowl, and he was reasonably tight there as well, with the lone exception of that particular delivery. It did induce an opportunity to dismiss Shahan Jayasurya that would not be held by Mrinal Patel at the long off boundary. Afternoon to forget for Mrinal, but he'll be back looking to atone tomorrow against the East Bay Blazers. It was off Ruben Clinton, the winning runs knocked off on a 4 from Shahan Jayasurya, and that, ladies and gentlemen, would be it. A 9-wicket victory here, paced by the 71 from Lahira Milantha, equaling his high score on this season for the Silicon Valley Strikers. He has been a monster just about every time they have managed to come out on the winning side of things, and they'll need more of the same out of him tomorrow when they take on the San Diego Surf Riders. That's going to be all from us here. We've had Eric and Rafa on the camera work this afternoon for both matches. Vishal Tiku, of course, at the controls, and I've been Joe Hickey, happy to bring this one to you here on the MLC Network. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow morning, bright and early, 10:15 a.m. for Surf Riders Strikers, again here on the MLC Network. Another presentation of 2023 Sunoco Minor League Cricket Championships presented by Lakshmi House of Spices. We'll see you then.